Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Lich. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I've been hanging out on the Coach Neil Discord, and I submitted this video for Neil to look at, um, of me playing a 7-kill 2.5k game in D4, in Diamond 4, which is the Plat lobbies. But I decided, you know what? Why don't I coach myself? Something I've been thinking about doing for a while, and so I'm actually going to give it a fair shake here. I've been rewatching this video a few times, and I have some critiques of mine to give myself, and they're going to be extremely harsh. And I'm going to keep this quiet in the beginning, just to not make it confusing. So we're Kings Canyon Season 4. I think at the time of recording, we have 10 days left, 9 days left in the season, so... we're just going to skip to the boring parts here in the beginning. Okay, so immediately, one of the things that I like to do is denote all the hot zones, what I believe to be the hot zones on this map. And to me, hot zones are areas that are very close to the dropship that people are most likely going to land. And I generally tend to avoid these areas because of a high chance of a 50-50. And what a 50-50 is basically when you have a high probability, when you and another team land next to each other. In a video posted by Diego Soros about a month or so ago, he explains that pros generally tend to avoid this, and they don't like the idea. This is not going to get you wins. It's a 50-50. It's basically dropping hot. He heavily advises against this, and I took that to heart, and that's basically what I do. So in the beginning of a match, I will look at the map, see where the dropship is landing, and make my basically guess as to what the hot zones are going to be, and then I supplement that with looking as to how people drop out of the dropship in the beginning. So I just quickly went through them. Gauntlet, Skulltown. Let me just go back really quickly to show you the map. My hot zones that I marked out are going to be Gauntlet, Skulltown, Market, Thunderdome, Water Treatment, Repulsor, Hydra Dam, Cage. All of these are very close to the dropship, have decent loot, and people generally tend to enjoy dropping there. So I'm going to try and avoid those as best as possible. Airbase could also be an option. And so I list them all off in a way that it is just basically not legible or readable, audible. And I look to see how people are dropping, and I notice nobody's going immediately towards runoff, and I said okay. And so now I'm currently keeping an eye on these two teams. I don't want one of them coming our way because that's going to initiate a 50-50, and that's not going to be fun. Checking behind me to see if there's a team. That's always good. And then we land immediately, and I'm going to pause here, turn up the volume, and this is going to get really freaky, but you're going to hear two of me now. Old me and new me.
There's a loot boy in here somewhere. Hey, ooh, gold. Helmet, that's really useful on Wraith, actually.
Yes, actually, the Wraith is very useful on the helmet is useful on Wraith because of the ability to charge their portal more often. Kind of get lucky here with the drop of the loot boy. I hear him in the beginning. L-Star, not a bad. L-Star alternators, not a bad combo. I already have the blue, so I ping that for teammates. I hear engagements and I start walking out. Guy off to my right, I check him. Burn him down pretty quickly. I hear more, so I back off. And this is good, just not immediately trying to W key, backing off to a better location, and then trying to get a more advantageous angle. Changing the angle after, especially downing an enemy, is always good. Always change the angle, always make yourself unpredictable. Using the alternator, which has a high strafe speed and a pretty good recoil, is also extremely good for these kinds of tight close quarter situations. Even pulling out that at Star was not a good idea. We don't hear him for a little bit. We push up because teammates are pushing up. Grab the armor because armor is important. Engage in on the team because we know we have the advantage. They have one down. So it's a Gibraltar. Get hit here. And this is basically where I kind of make my first mistake, which is immediately beginning to re-engage as opposed to healing. I could sit behind this tree and heal, but instead I choose to re-peek. This is just a bad habit that I have that I need to shake. It's something that sort of begins to shake itself later on in the video, but it's definitely one of my early mistakes. And it's something that I'm actively trying to get rid of. You can see me making the conscious decision to heal. But then basically kind of greed just gets the better of me. And I see the entire team retreating. I see 3. But I see them retreating. And I say, you know what? I can take some shots from here. I get a couple good hits. My aim is very inconsistent for some reason there. And I attempt to immediately push up and heal.
Wraith was the leftover from the pit squad, and that's the pit squad.
So the reasoning behind was that the Wraith went down and I saw 3 in front of me. However, the Wraith went down and I didn't see the shield. I didn't see anything of hers, actually. So I assumed... she got finished off by another member of my team. That could have been a different team. We don't know. In hindsight, that actually could have been the same team. Hearing that charge rifle, or hearing that Havoc pretty early on. So I called to disengage, and the reason why I do this is because, and I know I'm pausing a lot, but is because I remember in a video made by Diego Soros about a month ago, he talks about this idea as well when it comes to gear, and it's not about your gear, it's about your team's gear, and our gear is is considered underpowered. So good for early to mid game fights is going to be all blues with decent weapons and decent health. Very strong early game, and it definitely very good for late game is going to be all purples and relatively kitted out guns and good guns. But as it currently stands right now, we have okay guns, and we don't have almost any health, and we have low armor. So this is not a good engagement to take. We shouldn't chase down because there's a high probability of a third party, and I try and push my team to not to. Yeah, I try and push my team to not take this fight because we can't. We just can't. We will die if we take that. And I make that call for the gear. Of course, they're not listening because they can't hear me. Okay, so immediately I hear the flyer. So the flyer tells me immediately that there is a team ahead of us at that little outcrop that we're going to go fight at. And then the shots come in.
There's also a fight ahead of us, so.
Yep.
That wingman is tempting.
Wingman is wingman.
Found a whole bunch of ammo for it, so you know what?
I kind of get lucky with the extended heavy there.
So this is me not playing with my entire arm instead of just my regular arm.
What I mean by that is one of the things that I would do in PlanetSide 2 is I would use my entire arm for aiming instead of, when I say regular arm, what I mean is using my elbow as a pivot point. I actually remove my pivot point. I don't have one. I just use my full arm, and it's off the table. The only thing that's touching the table is my hand. This was my playstyle when using actually a lower sensitivity with my bolt action and PlanetSide. 88% headshot ratio. I can't argue with those results,
so
man.
It's still early game. We can still take fights, and there's guys ahead of us, so might not be the most terrible thing to do.
I see the fight happening in front of me, so I try to make pushes towards it, but also recognizing that I need loot, and so I'm going to take any advantage that I can.
Taking shots from this range is not the best idea in the world, but you know what? It works.
But you know what? It really doesn't.
So here's what's going to go down.
So I noticed the shield prop up relatively early on, and so I said, okay. And I'm thinking this, and again, this is all happening in the back of my head. You don't hear this. But I said, you know what, I need to have frags, and I'm going to go for the shot, and I'm going to wait, so I basically anticipated when the shield was going to go down. I get rewarded with 100 damage onto somebody with a blue Evo, and I immediately use the portal to take to go after this. So I noticed the enemy Wraith had also used a portal. And so what I do in this immediate moment is I say, okay, well, there's this Wraith portal in front of me, so I'm just going to attempt to chase them down instead of putting the portal in a location that would be more defensive and more advantageous for my teammates. This is a mistake. Do not do this. I put it behind this rock right into a perfect line of fire from somebody shooting up from this rock up here. That's right in front of me, and it's just a massive mistake. Wraith here, 1v1s me, goes down. I overextend, actually, in this fight. If I can just run it back for a few seconds. So, good instinctive play to move behind the cover, but immediately I just give up that cover entirely and play outside. Big mistake. But it doesn't matter because I outskill the Wraith. If that was a Predator, it probably would have been a trade. And that's not acceptable. So, and then just attempt to thirst the Wraith. Now I'm using cover. Got a couple of freaky misses, so I go for it. Still don't know how that was a headshot. I go ahead and take as much gear as I can. I like the Evo Shield. I like the Evo Shield a lot. I use it more. So I'm using it. Digi-Threat's something that I enjoy using. This is just a habit from my days in PlanetSide where I prefer the smallest dot in the middle of my screen possible. I don't care what that is, which is why I don't generally enjoy the HCOG too much, because it's a big dot as opposed to the 1X Hollow, which is a much smaller center dot. And that's just a personal preference thing. So I throw the grenade because I know there's going to be somebody there. I anticipate a push. Doesn't happen. I immediately change the angle and go for a flank. I expect a full team, and it's just a Gibby. So I throw the grenade. Get some good hits onto this Gibby with this alternator. And just basically, I know there's a huge amount of pressure on him, and I just keep shooting. Delayed reaction time. And damn.
Oh.
Surprised that they hit those shots. I could have gone for the stock, but I didn't. One of the things that I would like to point out, as we're doing this fight, I think it's about here. That there should be this caustic sound. And I, for some reason, didn't see it at the time, but if I go back and I freeze the frame, I just do the frame perfect freeze here. So I hear the caustic go down. But for some reason, and this could just be this is most likely because of lag, but I see this little pixel space here. I'm actually going to make this even smaller. I see this little pixel outcrop right here. When I look back at this video, that could have been a person. So that team could have been running away, and that actually could be the team that we kill later on down the road. This is just one of those things. I thought it was an audio bug, and I just continue on my way. This could have been another team that could have third-partied us. So always check all your angles. Don't just look and be like everything's okay. Especially as you'll see later in my video, people are jumping around all over the place, which is why I keep my head on a swivel. So anyway, we kill this guy. He gets annihilated.
So this should be the Watson, correct?
Yeah.
And so this is the kind of thing what I'm talking about when it comes to picking the right place to fight.
What I mean by that is, had we chosen to gone after the team up there, we still would have been under-geared, and we would have most likely died in a third party, and then screamed at blamed either teammates or the game's RNG, when in all actuality it was our mistakes. So, but instead we came down here, found a third party off teams that were already low, cleaned them all up.
took its
And we
help
made
in,
good,
in the field from pit.
we
We
made
probably would have gotten caught.
we made a really good play there, and that this is what won us the game, or basically.
On the in the field, and there's another third party, and we can just keep going for these
Mhm.
because we have the heals and utility to continue doing it.
Yep. And it's basically, and it's just, yeah, basically. I thought I saw somebody, and I advance. And thinking about it, I didn't, but yeah, basically, this is just that mentality. My Evo Shield's now a purple, and we can, we are set up. This is the mid game now, and we are kitted for the mid game. So I hear a shot off to my right, and I'm gonna go investigate. I'm gonna investigate here.
So there was so I heard something off to my right here, so I'm just gonna check it out. Yep, there's a team here that's an Octane.
Mm-hmm.
So
Octane there. I see the team off to the right. I know they're about to third party it.
Wait for this to third party.
This, as in the that team to our right, they do.
Fight! Right here.
And I make the call to fight. And so immediately I try to throw a grenade, but I notice the Octane again is late. He's separated from the team, and so what I want to do is space them out. That's what I'm thinking in the back of my head. So I go for the Octane. I don't give him the luxury to back off that quickly with the grenade, and I get him down. Fail a few shots. Go for a bat because, again, always be at full health when engaging. And then I push up, and I already have a pretty kitted alternator. So I hear a revive call. Yeah, I hear the revive, and so I immediately start to put pressure on this. I hear the Octane give himself a little bit of health. Man, you're gonna see that my connection to this game is not that good right now. So, skill or server, you decide. I hear the PK again. Lucky headshot onto that Pathfinder. This is another bad habit of mine that I developed, where I'm aimed perfectly, and then I go off to try and do this weird, stupid flick thing. Please don't do this. It's such a bad way of doing it. It really is. I feel the caustic smoke, and I'm just like, nope. I need sight. I need to be able to see. I assumed that wasn't enemies as well. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm referring to here is the idea of we have the gear, we have the third party, we have the third parties because we're following it. So this is the flow theory that thing that I have. There's an example of the lag. I still
one of those things, right? So like
I still feel like there's going to be a team there, so I watch it.
Understanding flow, understanding how people come in, understanding how people leave.
And that's just based off of, where's the ring coming from? What are the drop zones? In what way is the fight flowing? Whenever there's a fight, people are going to W key. Okay, so where are they going to go? In PlanetSide, it's very much a matter of which this game actually reminds me a lot of is, there are entrances and exits to areas where people are going to be entering from, where are people going to be leaving. What are the ins and outs of different areas, covering those ins and outs, and then just basically it becomes all relatively easy then. This just comes from a grand strategy perspective in PlanetSide, but I can elaborate more in a video if you want. Take these guys down, get behind cover. He was looking at somebody else, so I just take advantage. We advance up. My Pathfinder's out in the open.
Overextended, but that's okay.
Yeah, overextends. It's fine. Again, shitty aim, bad netcode, you decide. This is the second mistake that I make with my portal. I could have placed it behind a rock. I could have placed it behind the rock. Could have placed it anywhere behind cover, but no, I choose to put it out in the open. Big mistake. I'll generally tend to overextend in cover, so you'll see that a lot in the video as well. I'm overextended out in the open. It's a blind push. That's okay though, because I have the confidence of knowing that there's not going to be people there, because they backed off.
Bats work
you know, praying for aim.
2x.
2x.
Why
I
not?
see. So this is bad habit number 4,655. Seeing bullets go past me, and then I'm gonna walk into the bullets, and where they're coming from. Yeah. Slap on the wrist for that one.
That, not
I don't like. I immediately just get the heebie-jeebies and I get out of there.
repeat the same angle.
Yeah, change the angle, but I say repeat to save my ego.
Holding the angle that he was, because he most likely will repeat. He did. I just can't land my shots. Probably will take that 2x to see if I can. Okay, well, you know what?
Mistake number 55,675. I wasted the portal to try and save my teammates when I could have used it to have made a clean rotation through this opening.
We have the power to push up and poke.
Hmm.
Don't. Stay backed off.
They had the power to.
Fine.
They have the power to poke. They backed off, yes, but they still have the power to stop us. Which is more of an assumption. They could be holding a building, which they are, and I'm about to get punished for making that assumption. Here it is.
Okay. I have no grenades, so.
And this is where the portal would have been useful. Nice hit. My goal is still to get behind this building off to our west here. So this guy right here, my goal is to get behind this building. I ping it out for my teammates. Bit late.
He's hit 47, he's down.
Nice crossfire from a teammate. Again.
Okay.
Bad aim, bad game. You decide. Resing like an idiot. Then continues to contest me for some reason. Get a nice 45 onto the Octane. Get a nice headshot onto the Wraith. Mistake number 67,874. I only choose to use a one cell to heal myself instead of healing myself to full before engaging. And I don't reload my wingman. And I whiff a shit ton of my shots. Also, not using any of the cover off to my left, and I get punished for it.
Oh, come on. I should have done that so much sooner.
You shouldn't have done that at all, but anyway,
It's okay. They win this. They win. This is so much better.
not really.
It's just him. He's hyper low. Nice. So much better, dude. Nice.
What kind of context does that give the person? What do you mean so much better? Speaking out of my ass, dude. Alright. We're good to go.
So there's already a team in bunker. I know that because it's just gonna have to be, right?
And there is.
Looking for a 1x. Perfect. What's my ammo at right now? Yeah, okay. So this is also the advantage of just in general, like this is the like the real advantage of, you know what, I'm actually gonna switch over to the R9 now. I think we
The advantage of having good rotations. Also, this R9 pickup is a mistake.
had our fun with
Just saying.
the alternator. You know?
And if we're having so much fun, we should probably continue.
Hopefully we can win this. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. All right, we know that they're in there.
Yep.
This is not worth pushing into.
Alternatively, we could have just gone to the west as well instead of going this long way around. But I feel like this long way around was the better decision at the end of the day. Sometimes it's not about the shortest path. Sometimes it's about.
It's literally better to rotate around.
Yeah, exactly. It is better to rotate around. There's two ways to get
Why do I
there.
click better when I'm in Wraith mode, dude?
Sometimes it's better to rotate through an area. that's in the ring than to rotate through an area that's out of the ring, because a gatekeep could be happening, right? We already have the advantage of being in the ring. We could rotate through an area that isn't. Even if we run into an engagement up ahead of us, there's a high probability that we could still we have the time to fight it. Basically, if there is a team in front of us, we have the time to fight it, as opposed to rotating the other way, in which case we wouldn't have the time because the ring is coming up on us and we have 7 seconds left. I anticipated a team being here. There isn't. There's 3 squads. One's in bunker. I anticipated one being here. Clearly not. Up here is a very good place to hold. So I immediately say that, and then I drop like an idiot, not checking to see if there was a team in front of me here in this building complex. So anyway, continue. I see an Octane in front of me. This is just one of those things. So I see an opponent and I immediately go for cover. Smart. Trigger discipline. See where he's going. Why is he going? I mark him out again. See if I hear that. I hear something off to my right. Something hits me in the ear to my right, but I guess I'm just not paying attention to it. I hear the movement to my right. There it is.
They wasted their ultimate, so this is actually going to be more advantageous.
And it is more advantageous. They wasted their ultimate, which is really good. It's a Gibraltar ultimate, which would apply a lot of pressure to a team like ours. So that's nice. I get the hibba-dibba-jeebies, and we go to defending this position. I mean, one thing is I just need to use cover more effectively. I used cover really well on Planet Side. I don't do it here because I'm dumb.
Nah, team game.
Yeah, calling out. He's just like, you're the pro, you're the pro. I'm like, team game because duh. So I keep checking off to this angle here.
They're still in the
So I keep checking off to this side here because I just have this feeling, man. I didn't see anybody come out of bunker. There's nobody's rotating there. I just get this feeling out of my side. That's just like there's gonna be somebody there. And it's amazing because this is a wide peak on this spot, like a very wide peak. And I don't see them at all. Like I don't see it. So, but they're there, which is amazing. And so because I feel like I've checked that angle, I hear this Gibraltar again, and so I immediately think, because that sounds really close, I'm going to check up here into this corner. Maybe the rat's here. Guess what? He's not. And then, you know, I check here again at a much tighter peak.
There's the rat.
And I guess he's there now. Sure, pal. Whatever.
Is he really going for it?
I tell my team that there's a high probability of the enemy team with the Gibraltar playing this ridge below us. I give the enemy team more credit than they actually deserve. So.
He's right here.
I anticipate a push. It's not happening. So I didn't see the push from there, so I anticipate that they might go and try and portal around. They have plenty of time to do it. They don't. Again, I overestimate my enemy team. Better to overestimate than underestimate. My Pathfinder is overextended again. And you're about to see me not only whiff shots, but again, fail to use cover one more time.
Go for the rat. He's right here.
Those were definitely missed shots. Oh yeah, look at that. And I overextended again. I overextended beyond the cover. I didn't give myself the cover. Look, I'm doing it again. It's almost as if I didn't learn anything. It's probably the thing that gets me the most kills in this. That's probably the thing that gets me killed the most. I hear the Gibraltar ultimate, and I immediately like check to see where it's going to be going down. Do I need to panic? Do I need to not? You know, do I panic? Do I not? I don't have to panic. Cool.
That's okay. Now come back. Just play it slow.
Asked the teammate to play it slow. He doesn't. So I said, you know what? Okay, fine. Let's just play it out. I hear the portal go off. I wasn't really caring about that at the time. Get some good hits in. Bad hits, bad server, you decide. I immediately chase down. Gibraltar takes the portal, drops his bubble. Oblivious as fuck, again. That Wraith just plays it really bad. Again, bad server, bad aim, you decide. I wait for the Gibraltar to basically come through the portal. He's not going to do it, but, you know, just watching the portal, my teammate engages. I expect the Gibraltar to take the portal again. He doesn't.
Nice. GG.
Jeez. So, things that I consistently noticed. I don't use
Range is not.
cover at all. I need to be using cover, like here. Like I overextend out of the... I get the mentality to go behind cover, but then I don't use it like a moron. And I continue to, like an idiot, overextend. Overextend myself beyond to get a quote-unquote better shot. Like... I could have stayed like this. I could have stayed like this and had very little exposure, but instead... I decided to do that. And not only did I decide to do that, I also decided to come up and stand on an even higher target for people to more easily shoot me at. Anyway. And this repeats itself pretty consistently throughout this video. It's something that I know that I need to work on constantly.
Here.
Uh,
Right here.
again, instinctively coming to cover. Going for the engage. And immediately throwing that cover away just to get a single last hit. The advantage here is that I am a Wraith. I have a smaller hitbox, so I take less damage. And on top of that, I can Q to cover if I really need to. But to do so would be a mistake. I nearly get punished for it, too. Had that been a fully charged Peacekeeper, I probably would have been punished for it. Wait, was that a Peacekeeper? That is most likely the charged PK. Well, no, actually, that is actually most likely a triple take, actually. Yeah, I heard that. That's probably a triple take. So he's probably doing PK triple take, which is probably why he didn't switch out of the PK. So, nevertheless, and again, here I am, playing around a tree and refusing to use it as cover. Standing out in the open. Just letting it happen. And it just happens all the time. Look, here it is again. Here's this tree that I can play around. There's some rocks to my left. Do I decide to use any of those? Absolutely not. And only when I believe that I am vulnerable do I actually decide to use the cover. This is just this is the few times where I actually use the cover correctly. Here I am right next to the pill, and even then, here I am taking the cover, being very good to keep myself, and oops, I'm outside again. And that, I'm outside of cover again. But I'm close enough to where I can dip. This is a much better peek there. So, anyway. Should I scream at myself more? Sure.
That's
Overextending again and showing this. Am I using any cover? No.
down.
Again, overextending. Am I using any cover? Sort of this rail. Is it going to save me? Probably not against a predator. So, anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me tearing myself apart, and I hope you guys learned something from it. And with that, I will catch you guys later. Peace. Hope you enjoyed watching.